Welcome back to Desk-Bound Aviator. I'm Steve, your host. Today we're going to fly a challenge route. Challenge was from my friend Brad, who did this a couple of weeks ago, flying in some rather interesting airstrips in Western Idaho. I'll show you on the charts where they are. Come over here to Sky Vector. We're here in the western part of Idaho, up in the Yellow Jacket Mountains, some other mountain ranges and creeks and things. We're located at a fire station called Bernard, USFS at 3,600 feet. We're going to fly up this river valley, not down it, because it actually gets higher as we go, to a place called Lower Loon Creek, aptly named because you've got to be loony to fly in there. From there, we're going to skip Mahoney and down here to Thomas Creek, land there. That's at 4,400 feet, and then up to 47 at Indian Creek. And then if time permits, we'll do a nice little jaunt down to a beautiful lake and hopefully not land in the lake. So I'll show you on X airports where we are right now at Bernard. We're going to fly down this, or up, I should say, up this river valley till it splits, and then follow the right-hand fork to Loon Lake. So that's our drill today. Let's jump in the aircraft and get things set up. First thing we want to do is come down here and rotate the fuel tank switch to the left. Use that one first. Bring up the cowl flaps. Then I'll use my yoke levers to push in the mixture to full rich, the prop pitch to full, and we'll leave the throttle just a skosh in. And then we come over here and I can move the yokes so we can see what's going on here. And the first thing we want to do, of course, is just check the prop. Nobody around the prop, everything's clear. We'll come back in here and turn on the batteries and the fuel pumps. Rotate our switch a couple of times. Now when I rotate that to start, you're going to see this fuel flow needle here jump up to about maybe the 6 or 8 spot and then come back down to 4. Before I do that, I'll flip on some lights. Those 3 to begin. And now we'll rotate this key. There it goes. Fuel pump can come off. Alternator can go on. The landing and taxi lights can come on, and I'm going to leave those on for the duration of the flight, at least until the last leg. And the pitot heat can come on. We've got the park brake on. Last thing I'm going to do, 2 last things I'm going to do. One is I'm going to flip on the avionics. You can see we've got our flight established in the Garmin 530. We're not really going to follow it, except maybe for a little bit in the last leg. And then I'm going to lower the flaps to flaps 1. And that's done. So we're about ready to go. A little power. Brakes off. Full thrust. Going for 60 knots. Also looking to avoid hitting those trees. Rotate. Gain some speed. Flaps up. I'm not bringing the gear up, partly because I want it to retard our speed. also because it's such a short distance that it isn't really necessary. Also helps to keep our speed down. It's tricky showing you different views because you have to let go of the yoke, and when you do, all hell breaks loose. What we're doing here is just flying down this river valley, or flying up it, I should say. It's actually flowing toward us, not away from us. And climbing here, probably up to about 5,500 would be adequate. Trim a little bit. Pitch back, throttle comes back, settle in right there at about 5,500. As we head down toward the fort of the river, and we'll take the right-hand fork. It really winds around a lot. As we come around this bend here, you're going to see these ridges coming down like folds. And each one of them is a separation. I mean, it's formed by that river twisting and winding its way back and forth. It's really quite an amazing landscape to fly over, for sure. Where we're headed is going to be this last V down here. Go ahead and throw in some flaps, help us hop over this ridge, also slow us down. Full flaps. And brakes. There, and look at the way the windsock is flowing. That's probably a first. All right, I have to back up a little bit, get back on the other part of the runway, and okay, we somehow managed to survive that. Let me show you where we're going next. Jump over here to our chart. And we are now at Lower Loon Creek. So what we're going to do is fly down the river, or fly up the river. I'm going to fly over Mahoney Creek and land at Thomas Creek. So you'll see an airstrip below us. We're going to fly over that. We're going to wind around a valley and then land in this general direction at Thomas Creek. I'll show that to you on X airports. Here we are at Lower Loon, We'll just go down the river like this, and you'll see the airstrip in front of us. That's actually, if I click on that, that'll show you the name. Mahoney. That's Mahoney. We're going to skip that, continue on down the river, or up the river, I should say. Keep on saying down. We're going up the river, and when we reach here, you're going to see a big ridge line here. We have to fly around that, following the river, and then bank in and land pretty much the same way we just did into Thomas Creek. So that's where we're headed. We'll go ahead and keep this on center, and we can jump back into our airplane and take off. Now, the way we're going to do this takeoff is we're going to fly up here and bank around to the left. Zoom in a little closer here. In spite of the, there's not really very much wind, even though the sock is going in the wrong direction. We're going to fly up this way with two flaps set on 2, gain a little bit of altitude, come up here, clear this little hill here, and bank around and clear these guys and head on down the river. It's an interesting takeoff. I've done it before, but you never know. Might not make it this time. So hang on, and here we go. Pops up 1. Pops up 2. Into the sun. Following the river. Oops, settle down too, a little too hard. All right. That's the trouble with landing at 60 knots like that. It's really tricky, because you can lose airspeed and drop like a stone. All right, and I didn't even have full flaps. Maybe I should have thrown them in just to give us a little more lift. Okay, that's leg 3. We'll be back the airplane up and we'll get ready for leg 4. Okay, welcome back. We are here at, well, we're not on that, we're on this side of the chart. We're up here at Indian Creek, and we're gonna take off out of here and not gonna fly the rum line, as I call it. That's the direct line between two waypoints. We're gonna branch off from that and fly this fork of the middle river, or the middle fork of some river, down in this direction, but on this side of the rum line. Put on the other sector of this chart, and we're headed here for Deadwood Reservoir and the Deadwood Dam. There's a little private airfield down here. It's not even on the charts. And so we're going to come down here through a beautiful valley and then across this ridge and hopefully land this thing without putting it in the lake. So you're going to see some snow. It's going to be a nice view. And the reason you're going to see some snow is because I've got the orthophoto scenery loaded, and it's a little nicer in some ways than just having the UH mesh, the UHD mesh. Let the brake go. Crank it up to our rotation speed, 60 knots. And rotate. Try to avoid hitting the trees. Bring up the flaps. Straighten it out a little bit, and I'm going to bring up the gear. As soon as we get smoothed out. Stop them from spinning. Okay. There's some snow for you. I'm going to take a left turn here at this little cut in the ridge where the riverbank goes through. Down that way. let it get up to around 10,000. And I might as well go ahead and fire up the autopilot. Arm 10,000. We do about 900 feet per minute or so to get there, and we'll go ahead and put it on heading mode, except I just want to turn this dial a little bit. Not quite so sharp an angle. Maybe that would work. We can make adjustments on that as we go along. All right, you can see the lake. Climbed up a little too high. Let's probably go ahead and start our descent and bring our speed back. I'll go ahead and lower the gear. Taking off autopilot. And we're headed right over in this direction. Right where you see my cursor. Throw in another notch of flaps. Full flaps. Little bouncy. Well, well, let's turn on the road. A little bit far, but that's okay. We made it. See if we can get our way back here to this Forest Service plane. Boom. So there we are, Deadwood Lake and Deadwood Dam. Quite an interesting place. So I'm glad you joined me for that today. I hope you enjoyed it too. Try it yourself sometime if you think it's easy. And by all means, take a look at Brad's version of this so you can see how somebody who knows what they're doing, how they do it. It's tricky stuff landing at these short airports with this particular airplane. It's very skittish. It's powerful, but it's skittish. It's tricky to operate. It's taken me a few tries to get here. So thanks for joining me. If you have more things you'd like to see, and I'm going to have a real interesting one coming up in a while. I'm just getting into it. I just purchased the TBM 900, and let me tell you, that's a tour de force of detail. I'll tell you more about it soon, but first I got to figure out how to get it started. So thanks for joining me. This is Steve, your desk-bound aviator. I will see you soon.